And I am back. Welcome to the Breakin Broncos podcast. As of now and forevermore, your man Dan is back with his boy Dylan. We are here to talk Broncos because we have so much to catch up on, y'all. I apologize for missing last week, but I hope y'all understand. Had a family emergency I had to take care of, but we are back. We are here, and everything is Gucci. All right. So let's go ahead and
You want to pull our background out?
Oh, yes, we do. We got big heads. We want small heads. There we go. We got
our picture is a little distorted.
But so, man, I do want to say in front of everybody so everybody can hear, I appreciate you doing what you did last week, my guy. You held down the fort. You did a great job.
Can't believe you made me do that.
We appreciate y'all. No, man, but seriously,
the biggest like news week we had in years.
I know. The biggest news week of the year, and I was not here, so I apologize for y'all. So to make up for that, we are doing a 2-hour special here today. So
I gotta dip out for the first though.
Yes, that is fine. Dylan will be jumping out, but I gotta make good for y'all, so I will be here for a full 2 hours. Let's go ahead and get these things rolling. First off, we have the big news. Randy Gregory, he signed the biggest signing of the offseason so far. Yes. Kind of sad to see Von Miller go somewhere else, but
he's getting his money.
Replacement. Oh, yes, he's getting his money. I can guarantee there's no way that George Payton was going to give a almost 33-year-old man a 6-year contract for $120 million.
I can't believe the Bills gave him that.
And for a defense that he is not a true fit for on top of
it.
So I wish Vaughn all of the best, all of the success in the world. The man is already a first ballot Hall of Famer, will forever be a Broncos country favorite. But the Bills overpaid and they have him out of position. So we'll see how that goes. But we got our guy, Randy Gregory, who was a 3-4 outside linebacker in college. If y'all forget, he is from Nebraska. So this is not us grabbing a defensive end. We didn't do what the Bills did. We took a guy that actually knows how to play the position that we signed him for. So he doesn't have to learn it all over or a new defense, very similar to something he's dealt with before. So
and same with
really
DJ Jones. Same with DJ Jones. And DJ Jones is really going to love this system, especially after playing against the Rams twice a year. So he's going to get to be able to be a part of that system.
Perfect. That's going to be fun. Yeah, I mean, DJ Jones, I think, is going to be the most underrated signing of the offseason. He is going to transform this run defense.
And that's your Shelby Harris replacement.
I think he's more like Purcell.
Yeah.
He's more of a
to fill in that spot.
Right. Yeah. He's more of a nose tackle. Shelby was the defensive end, the rush D end. He was the guy that was meant to rush the passer. DJ Jones is going to replace Mike Purcell. That's where that replacement is going to be. Yes, but that also means that your depth at defensive tackle is insane because you got DJ Jones and then right behind him is Mike Purcell. So as long as Purcell can stay healthy, you have a seriously deep defensive tackle rotation there that can keep each other fresh. It's a lot like people talking about Melvin Gordon keeping Javonte Williams fresh. That's what these two are going to do.
And that's going to be the Mike Boone effect with Javonte.
You got that exactly. We're going to talk about that as well. But as we're talking about the different moves, I would like to know, what is your favorite move so far for the Broncos this offseason?
1 second. I lost my rundown. There we go. All right. Favorite move, is that what you said?
Yeah, favorite move. But real quick, while you're thinking about that, I do want to give a shout out. Mauritian, my mother-in-law, is currently in the hospital. She just actually had an amputation. So I truly appreciate that Nika, my sister-in-law, and my mother-in-law Mauritian are both listening to us at the hospital. We wish you the best, and we wish you a quick and fast recovery so you can get back home.
Oh yeah. Ooh, God. Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a sorry situation. We've had a lot of things happening, but like I said, things are turning around, looking better, and we're just going to hope that they
Especially
keep
with
going
these
that way.
moves.
Right.
Especially with these big
Right. So,
moves.
what is your favorite move so far of the Broncos this offseason?
Believe it or not, it's not Russell Wilson. I will say that. For me, I really
I
love the
like it.
signing of Randy Gregory, especially because we talked about him weeks before free agency even started when we were getting. Because back then we were still thinking Vaughn after all the Vaughn stuff. I was thinking there's that chance where he won't come back,
Right.
and you're gonna have somebody that you want to line up match with Bradley Chubb, and I go, Randy Gregory's perfect for that. Especially the fashion that he did it in. That was so funny. And now all these analysts are mad at his agent for what he did. It's like, you know what I'm mad about is the Cowboys trying to go behind their backs on the contract.
Right. Yes. I mean, that contract, and we're going to get into that in the next segment, so we won't go too far into the whole contract negotiations and just how Randy got here, because we will, I promise, go into great detail. Right now, we just want to talk about what's exciting.
Yeah.
And
that's my
me,
favorite
again,
move. Like, Russell Wilson's up there. Don't get me wrong.
Of course.
It should be
that's
one, but
that's the easy road.
That's the easy road. But I love Randy Gregory. But if Randy Gregory wasn't up there, it would be DJ Jones.
Yeah. And you took the words right out of my mouth, brother. It's a perfect transition to my favorite move because that's exactly it. DJ Jones is my favorite move so far this offseason. Like I said just a moment ago, he's probably going to be the most underrated signing. Think of like TJ Ward of that big signing class with Aqib Talib. Everybody was talking about all the other guys.
Oh my God.
Nobody really talked about TJ and what that man did for that defense. DJ Jones is going to have a similar effect, but from the defensive tackle position instead of the safety position.
Man, people forget how great he was.
And in the playoffs, man.
And the man had a pick and a fumble recovery in the Super Bowl.
Right. I got you. I mean, yeah, he had both those in the Super Bowl, and I mean, just the pressure he was able to give. That really showed a different side. He's another one of those dancing bears. He's absolutely a massive human being that's going to eat up 2 or 3 blocks. But if you mess around and give him a solo block, he will beat that block. He will get to the quarterback and he will destroy the quarterback. He's got a nasty demeanor to him, which is exactly what you want from a nose tackle. He's a Vince Wilfork type. He's not going to stuff the stat sheets.
But my gosh.
He's not going to stuff the stat sheet, but he's going to do all of the little things that free up everybody around him. Randy Gregory, Bradley Chubb, Draymond Jones, Baron Browning, etc. They are all you're going to hear them talk a lot about DJ Jones. The regular media, they're not going to talk much about a run stuffing defensive tackle.
Denver exclusive.
Yes, Denver exclusive. You're going to hear it from the players. You're going to hear it straight from them. Anytime that people try to give them credit for their success, you're going to hear them talking about the other guy. Kind of like when Von Miller used to talk about Derek Wolfe taking all the dirty work out so that he was free to go to the quarterback. That's what DJ Jones is going to do for the rest of that pass rush and the run game. He's just a manimal. He's just insane, and I just can't wait to see what he does in the middle of that defense. And
he also
stuffing everything.
He also really reminds me of Malik Jackson a bit too, especially Malik Jackson on his physicality, like the way he's athletic.
Yes,
he is very athletic for a big man. And he'll be able to break through the line. He can run people down. I like the mix of. I think he's that mix of Malik Jackson and Shelby Harris in the same body, where he is a big man, but he's very athletic and he's going to do what he has to do.
I agree. And talking about big men going off, we promised you. I make promises, I keep them, right? So Randy Gregory blasted Cowboys front office and their fan base for the reason being of him taking less money to come to Denver. And if you all do not know, the details are, it's essentially the same deal. But there was language in the Cowboys deal that allowed them to essentially nullify guaranteed money due to suspensions and things of that nature. So if you don't know Randy Gregory's past, he has missed over 50 games due to suspensions for smoking marijuana. So although I do understand where the Cowboys are coming from and wanting to have some type of security blanket, the reason he came to Denver is Denver didn't include that language. They just gave him the contract and said, "We believe that you've cleaned yourself up and you figured it out." I know it sounds scary to say that a guy that couldn't stay away from the ganja is in Colorado.
Not as bad as Josh Gordon, though.
Exactly. He's actually shown that he can get his stuff under control. He's been very good.
Isn't there talks of them starting to take weed out of the drug test lists in the NFL? There's starts of talks.
Yes, there is. There are starts to talks of because there's actually states like here in Colorado, they actually have a law coming up for vote to actually make it illegal for employers to drug test a person in the state of Colorado, and if they pop hot or test positive for marijuana, that they can't use that against them. That it doesn't matter. Essentially, if you take a drug test,
it's like alcohol.
You pop hot from marijuana. Yeah, exactly. They just look at it like alcohol.
Yeah.
So that's happening in a lot of the states that it's legalized in, and it's starting to get to the majority of states having it legalized and having these laws on the books. So the NFL really doesn't have much of a choice but to move with the times. And so thankfully they are starting to be cognizant of that. And like Dylan just mentioned, they are in talks about removing it because the NBA did remove it during
COVID. Did the MLB, right?
I believe so. And I think the NHL did too. I think
the MLB did it before COVID. It was early 2020, January 2020.
Yes, I do believe so. I will have to double check for y'all. I don't want to be against, but I do believe my guy.
I think it was just straight medicinal prescribed though for MLB.
Right. Yeah. It's like you had to there was hoops you had to run through.
Yeah. For like pain and.
Right. But during COVID, the NBA and the NHL, they just ignored it. Technically it's back, but I have yet to see an NBA player get knocked for it. So I'm assuming they're just like, you know what, we went 2 years without an issue. Let's just leave the guys alone. And I mean, you think about that, 2 years of just absolutely clean outside of the one incident with the Nets player. I forget his name, where he tried to sneak the weed onto the plane in a water bottle, taking paraphernalia with paraphernalia. But outside of that,
Pat McAfee got away with it. I'm just going to say that in London.
yes. That is a great. If y'all have not look up Pat McAfee, put in Pat McAfee edibles London into YouTube, and I promise you won't regret it. It's a great story.
And I think one of the better parts of that story was years later, or like just a few months ago, they had Chuck Pagano on, and he told that story.
Yes.
And Chuck never. Yes. Oh, it's great.
He had no idea. Yes. So
you need to have more players start shows like that.
Yeah. If you need a good laugh, definitely check that out because it's a great one. But yeah, so essentially what it was is he felt the Cowboys didn't trust him, and the Broncos did trust him.
So Payton essentially just said,
exactly, George,
if you mess up, it's on you.
Exactly. It's on you. And I mean, that's the thing I don't understand why the Cowboys even added that, because
after they came to an agreement.
Right.
It was after they came to an agreement. Sorry.
Exactly. It's after they came to an agreement. No, you're good. But when it comes to suspensions, they don't get paid their guaranteed money anyways. Yeah. So you're just kind of being vindictive. And that's what Peyton's essentially telling him. He's like, hey, like you just said, it's on you, buddy. If we don't pay you, it's your fault. It's not because we put some strange language in there that you don't understand or don't like. It's just the rules. Exactly. So, and I mean, speaking of George Payton and just ridiculous.
What a year he's had again.
How about the fact that he got the two guys that just signed a long-term contract to restructure them to get him an extra $13 million in cap space over the last couple of days?
It shows you how much the players love him.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like how much trust they have in him to do the right things to get them to win.
I
they
love.
didn't think he.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I just love listening to that man talk, especially on those Breakin Bronco episodes or interviews. I love listening to him talk.
Yes.
Something about it, it's soothing. He's smart. I trust him, and I'm not even a part of that organization.
Right. Yes,
It's
exactly.
there's something about this man.
We're the George Payton fan club. We can't explain it. We just are. So, well, actually, we can. I mean, just watch the man.
Yeah.
Just
oh my god.
watch the way he works.
Did you watch
If you're
that
not a
Breakin
fan of
Broncos
what he
episode?
does,
New one?
which one?
The new Russell Wilson Breakin Broncos, or not break behind the Broncos.
Behind the Broncos. There you go. I was like, wait a minute, you talking about us?
Yeah, we're doing our show. Yeah, we had Russell Wilson on last week. You weren't here. You missed it.
Right? Yeah, I missed it all. Dang it! Look at you, doing great things, and I'm not even here.
I'm taking this company somewhere.
Hello, Governor. Hello, Governor. Appreciate you showing up. Again, appreciate the loves. Look at that. Same amount of peoples as likes. That's what we like to see, people. That's why y'all are awesome. And we love y'all. So, getting back to this, talking about scorched earth. We really want to talk about scorched earth and people and players calling out their former superiors. If y'all have not seen this, Sua Cravens, the former safety for the Broncos, he was the Broncos traded a second-round pick to Washington to get him. He was great as a rookie, and then he just fell on injury, just bad luck. The man just constantly kept tearing the meniscus in his knee, and eventually ended up having to retire due to those injuries. Well,
man, he was great. I loved him. I loved watching.
I really loved the way he played,
and you matched him with Justin and Kareem. It was beautiful.
Exactly. But the reason we're bringing up a retired player that only played a few years in the league was this man went absolutely scorched earth on Vic Fangio. Here we go.
The man himself.
That I got it up.
Here, I'm going to restart my camera quick.
You're fine. But this is Sua Craven's Twitter thread that started it all. And I want to highlight this because if y'all don't remember, me and Dylan have had we thought they were conspiracy theories, but they're starting to get some confirmation. We had talked about how we didn't believe that Drew Lock lost the competition as much as Teddy won over Vic Fangio. And we pointed out the birthday situation where Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock have the same birthday. And
which
Vic
is crazy.
Fangio, right.
I still think
that. It is. The world is insane.
There's even something crazier. It's like with that. This is like on the topic of like the same birthday. I have a buddy who shares the same birthday with his twin sisters and another one of my buddies.
Right.
It's like something that should never happen.
Right. No, I hear you. That's like my great niece Nova was born on my wife's birthday. The day that I got robbed and attacked, yes, all of that happened on that day.
The fence post story.
Birthday. Yes, the fence post story. Exactly. That was my wife's birthday and the birth of my great niece all happened on the same day within hours of each other.
And then we did the national championship that next night.
Yes, and we did the national championship the next night after that.
With your bad knee and all.
My hobbling self. My bad knee and all. Trooper, buddy.
What a week. That was a crazy week. Because then that's when the school went through all the changes. We got the new campus director and everything, new teachers.
Yes, exactly. That was an absolutely insane week. And I have a message that I don't want to check right now. Y'all see that? Ignore it. I'll explain that later if it happens to be the message. I hope it's it.
Oh, dude. I hope
Dylan
it is.
knows what Dylan knows.
Check
what
on your phone after this.
I will. But anyways, the reason we brought this up is because, like we pointed out then, he told the media to make sure to tell Teddy Bridgewater happy birthday. Well, the media reminded him that it was Drew Lock's birthday too. And he's like, oh, really? Okay. Not, oh, my bad. Yeah, make sure you tell Drew happy birthday. No, he didn't care. I mean, it was kind of obvious that Vic had his players he loved and the players he didn't. And if he didn't, you were treated like crap. And Sua is exactly saying what we said was a possibility is a reality. And he's even calling out guys like Justin Simmons, Kareem Jackson that he says can back up everything he's saying here. So let's dive
And
in
Justin
real
Simmons
quick.
has liked all these tweets.
Yes, he has. If y'all go in here and look, every player that he called out has went in and liked or even retweeted what he said. So if he was lying, there's no way that current players would risk themselves like this.
Just
So
shows you a John Elway hire.
take that with a grain of salt. We're just saying. So drive in real quick in case y'all can't read it or whatever. It says, I miss Denver so much. Wish I didn't keep tearing my damn meniscus. I'd get my knee drained once a week just to show I was committed to be on the field. Didn't help Vic went out his way to dislike me either. LOL. But that's life. I'm living vicariously through at jsims1119. That's Justin Simmons' Twitter now.
And I see you're not following him on the side there. What's up with that?
Where? I'm following
Justin
him.
Simmons. No, you're not following J Sims up right beneath him.
Oh,
what's up with that?
Thank you for calling me out. My bad.
Our favorite player, and you're not even following him. Okay.
I know. I'm sorry, Justin. I did not realize. I know I'm following you on my personal. I apologize. I did not follow you on the Answers 42. You are one of the best. We love you.
But you're not following many people on the Answers 42.
Right. I'm really not. But when it comes, he keeps going. Messed up part is when I got cut, they asked me if I wanted to meet with Vic. I said yes and waited outside his door. I knocked and waited for 10 minutes. He was inside and chose not to meet with me. Imagine if I stormed out and caused a scene. It would have made headlines, quote unquote, cancer.
And that's true.
It continues even further. Yes, it is.
That's the truth of today's media.
Exactly. You cannot deny that man is 100% correct. If he would have made a scene leaving, everybody in the media would have blasted him for being a poor teammate, a cancer in the locker room, etc. So he took the high road and moved on. Then we have next is this just the tip of the iceberg, LOL. I got countless stories of Vic that Justin Simmons, Bryce Callahan, Kareem Jackson, and basically every defensive back will tell you are 100% true. Excuse me. If I'm lying, I'm dying. I low-key want to host a podcast episode where I tell these stories with my boy at jsims1119 as a guest. Sheesh.
This is the one I saw first before I saw the rest of these tweets. This is the first one I saw. Here? Yeah.
Okay. All right, man, I'll go ahead and read it. Man, I'll say this. First day of OTAs, me and Jay Sims were talking about religion during warm-ups. Vic walked up only to me and said, talk football or shut up, Sua, and walked away from me. I looked at Justin and said, yep, I'm definitely getting cut. LMAO. It was the first OTA workout.
I was so sad when he got cut because he was finally getting better. He was going to play that season.
Right.
Who the hell did they even replace him with?
It was Kareem. Kareem was his replacement. Yeah. Kareem was his replacement.
I love Kareem.
He was on the team.
Damn.
Yeah, because I mean, yes, we love him, but yeah, it's just simply that Sua would have. I honestly believe he would have been great in this defense if he would have been able to stay healthy. I don't know what's going on with my throat, guys. I'm sorry, I keep clearing it in your ears. I apologize, but this right here, the first OTA workout where guys are supposed to be getting to know each other, and you see two guys that are going to be playing side by side, and you split them apart and call out the one because whatever, I don't care what his reasons are. And you don't ever go.
Oh, you definitely know what his reasons were because Justin Simmons was the veteran who was well respected with the contract.
Exactly. Well, this would have been.
This is before the contract. He's still on his rookie deal.
This was when he was still on his rookie deal. But Justin has been a leader in that locker room since the day he showed up.
Oh yeah.
So you can't call out the leader in the locker room because the locker room will turn on you. But a guy that isn't on the field, you can usually get away with that. But
not if everybody likes that, man.
Exactly. But this honestly just confirms what I've said. We went from old curmudgeon Grandpa Vic to Uncle Nate. And I couldn't be happier. If any of this, just a small bit of this is true, I now truly understand why Vic failed as a head coach.
Oh, yeah.
You cannot do this. You cannot single out certain players. I don't care what your reasons are. You want to know what the cancer in the locker room was? It wasn't Sua. It was Vic Fangio. The fact that he would sit here and give excuse after excuse after excuse and never fire his buddy Pat Shermer or his buddy Tom McMahon, but yet he's willing to do things like this to his own players, bro.
Man's a great defensive coach, but my God,
all you need to
he
know.
needs to stay a coordinator.
Yes. Go ahead and talk. I'm going to check my Twitter.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that is, I liked Vic Fangio that first season, but then you could tell he wasn't ready to be a head coach.
Right.
Really couldn't tell. And towards the end, when he just started to fall apart, is when you start, I don't really think he won that locker room over ever.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think he ever really fully had a grasp. Like, obviously, he had his guys. You had Teddy Bridgewater. And I mean, this is something that's really starting to open my eyes about things. I really think that Garrett Bowles didn't have the holding problems because he didn't care if Teddy got hurt. He didn't care if Teddy got hit. If you go and you watch the difference between the way
that
he
first
blocked,
game. Even in the first game of the season, Teddy got beat up.
Like a turnstile. And we were talking about how it didn't seem like Garrett Bowles had the same fire and flash. Because you remember when he was drafted, he was like, the quarterback's like my wife. He's like my girlfriend. Nobody touches my girlfriend. And then you watch him with Teddy, and he would constantly let guys go that if he would have held, it would have stopped the guy from at least hitting Teddy. Yeah. And when you watch him play with Drew under center, all of a sudden he was back to holding. And if you watched, it was him trying to save his quarterback's life.
And it's because with
Teddy, he didn't.
That's a difference of respect between players. Is people that these guys, this was their guy. Drew was the guy. Like, he was supposed to be the guy. We both thought he should have been the starter. He balled out.
Oh, we got competition.
Block that guy on Twitter.
No, I love Brandon Perna.
I'm messing with you.
We do. I know. I can't block this guy, but yeah, we might.
No, his show's great.
It is. If y'all have not checked out That's Good Sports or That's Good Broncos, please do. Just know that it is not for children, and he pulls no punches. And he had very adult jokes. So if you're going to watch it, don't watch it with your children and don't let your children watch it. But if you're an adult and you enjoy an absolute hilarious time listening to a man talk about sports, go check out That's Good Sports and Brandon Perna.
That's going to be the deck. It's still in the works. We promise we're not putting that under the rug. It's still coming.
We're not. We just got to work through the logistics. We promise y'all it will be coming.
They had to move where the deck was. Damn it.
Right. Exactly. So but I just want to make it absolutely. I don't want to be a pest, Sua. I really don't. I just want to let you know that if you ever need a place or ever want a place, we would be honored for you to come and tell your truth.
We'll let you say whatever the hell you want.
Exactly. You will have complete freedom to say your entire truth. No one will step in your way. This is the beauty of being an independent media outlet, is I can allow you to tell your truth, your full truth. So if you want or need, we would be blessed and honored if you would use our platform. But again, I don't want to be a pest. I don't want to push it too hard. I'm just putting it out there. We're here and we're happy to have you. Just reach out if you have any interest. So with all of that being said, let's go ahead and stop this screen share. Boom. We're back to normal. All right. So now going on from some of the, I guess, less fun topics of the week, let's go ahead and talk about the trade of Russell Wilson resetting the balance of power, not only in the AFC, but in the NFL as a whole. And let's have a little fun. What are your top 5 teams by QB in the AFC?
Yeah, this is Rick. Like, before we get to that, is like, we all thought the 2020 season during COVID, that offseason was the craziest. Tom Brady leaving, Phillip Rivers leaving, all these people leaving for new teams.
Right.
And then you look at this year, you go, oh my God, Russell Wilson now leaves Seattle for Denver, which it's the best trade of the season. I don't give a shit. Sorry. I don't care what you say.
No, you're good. You're good.
I don't care what anybody says.
The emphasis was needed.
Yeah, but then it's and then you see Deshaun heads to Cleveland. You go, ooh, that's crazy. And then just today, Matt Ryan is a Colt.
Yes, I know. Matt Ryan's a Colt.
And like 20 minutes after the trade went through, they signed Marcus Mariota for the quarterback in Atlanta.
Yes, well, he's going to be the backup. I think that's
pretty much where you think Rosen's going to start over him?
Oh wait, that is right, in Atlanta. So yeah, Marcus Mariota. I don't know.
I bet you they do competition.
They're both. Yeah, they're going to do the previous first round picks and all that. So it should be interesting.
Atlanta's two first round picks in a same team.
Yes, same team. I mean, I don't know. The Falcons are going to have a rough season. I'm sorry for Falcons fans.
We're going to have a rough few years.
But yes, the QB carousel. This has never happened, folks.
No.
And it probably will never happen again, where you see this many top flight QBs just being jet set all over the country.
And it shows you how it doesn't matter if you're the guy anymore. That's just how the NFL is nowadays. It's like you're not going to see like a John Elway staying with the Broncos forever. And everybody thought Brady would stay with the Patriots forever. Obviously, didn't happen. Same with Favre and the Packers. Didn't happen. It's like it's rare to see that happen. And like, is John Elway the only?
Right.
There's how many quarterbacks have stayed with their same team their whole career? There's not many.
Not anymore. It's
the only one off the top of my head, I think, is Elway.
Yeah. You got Elway, Marino.
Marino. Yep. Did Steve Young stay with the 49ers for his whole career?
No, he was a Buck first.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it was like a Brett Favre situation where he was drafted by another team, and then as the backup,
by the Falcons, his first ever pass was thrown to himself.
Thrown to himself.
There's not many.
Favre is one of the most interesting careers, man.
I love that, man.
But actually, speaking of that, before we actually get into the top five, there is another topic I do want to talk about, and I'm gonna do something I don't normally do, and that's agree with somebody I don't normally agree with.
Is this 3?
Somehow it seems, somehow people seem to believe that Randy Gregory is a bigger risk than Deshaun Watson, and we've already discussed on this episode what Randy Gregory's issues are.
Mm-hmm.
I hate the fact that I am doing this, but I agree with Mark Kisla of the Denver Post. How is it possible for people to believe that Randy Gregory is a bigger risk than Deshaun Watson?
I mean, 22 civil lawsuits is...
Right.
Yeah. Oh, and have you seen all these pictures and videos coming from Cleveland after the trade went through? Oh my God, dude! You just go look all over NFL memes. They're all over the place. People hanging signs in front of and then people hanging signs in front of Stefanski's house, in front of the Browns facility.
Yes.
And I think all the massage parlors in Cleveland probably are waiting for that Texas area code call.
Mm-hmm.
That was my favorite meme. It was it was a Cleveland massage parlor seeing a call from a number with a Texas area code.
Yes.
Oh man, it's crazy though. Like I can't believe people think that Randy Gregory is a bigger risk because of weed instead of allegedly. We're not saying he did it. We're not saying he did it allegedly. With the sexually harassed 22 woman.
Right. And we have stayed firm on our thoughts of that whole situation, that they need to be fleshed out. Every woman needs to be heard. Every woman in those lawsuits deserve their time in court. We've expressed our concerns and our questions about the situation and what might be, but none of that matters when you're talking about who's a bigger risk. The guy with 22 civil lawsuits that, yes, he beat the legal charges, But he's again still got 22 other lawsuits sitting out there that have not been settled in any way. That depositions
and I don't
are
even
going to
think
be
they will
starting
by
in the
the
next
start of
few
the
weeks.
season. Yeah, I don't even think they
Yeah,
will be by the start of the season.
yeah, they're not even supposed to be starting depositions for like another month or
Yeah.
so. So that's a long process before you even get to the courtroom. So the Browns really took a major, major risk. I mean,
He couldn't even play. He
obviously,
probably won't. He could. There's a possibility he couldn't play this year.
it's a possibility. It doesn't look like Goodell's going to suspend him anytime
No.
soon. If he was going to suspend him, he would have done it already. And the thing that people don't understand from last year is that he didn't play not because he couldn't play or because he
He
wasn't
sat out.
able to play. It was simply because the Houston Texans did not want him on the field.
Mm-hmm.
The Texans paid. That man has not lost a single dime. A lot of people talk about, oh,
I
once he
can't believe
start,
they
all
didn't
this
find
money
him.
he's lost. I know nothing. The man has had literally nothing done.
And he
to
still
him
gets game checks from watching on his TV at home.
every single week. Like he hardly even practiced with the team. He would just come in, get some treatment, work out in the weight room, things like that, and then go home. Like he was essentially a non-part of the team that they had to pay.
Yeah.
And pay a lot of money.
Expansion teams, am I right? Expansion teams, though. That's just how. Yeah. Am I right?
Yeah, expansion teams.
I can't stand it.
Are insane.
They were the last expansion team, weren't they?
The Texans, yes.
And then before that was
the last
the Ravens, I believe.
Jaguars.
That's who it was. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, Jags and Ravens. 99. They both came, or no, 98. They both came in. Because the Browns moved from Cleveland to Baltimore. Browns moved from Cleveland to Baltimore 99.
But the Jags beat the Broncos.
97.
It wasn't 99 for the Jags.
And 96. It was 95.
It was 90. They came in 95 because they beat the Broncos in that 96 playoffs.
And that's what that's what caused Shanahan to go and sign all the free agents and
Howard
get Terrell
Griffith,
Davis
Neil Smith. Oh.
Yep. Terrell Davis in the 6th round. I mean, yeah, that was the moment. So yes, and then the Browns moved from Cleveland to Baltimore in 99.
And just redid everything.
And the Titans and the Texans came in the early 2000s, right? And then you had
Titans were there in the early 90s. Because the Oilers moved to Tennessee, not early, in the late 90s.
Yeah.
Oilers moved to Tennessee in the late 90s. Right.
The Oilers moved. Yeah. Well, yeah. Anyways, since we don't really have
this league's weird.
We'll move on. This league is so weird. It's been so crazy.
We got the Commanders now.
Over the last 20 years, things have gotten really, really, really strange. But no, for me, there's no way that you can put Randy Gregory on the same level as Deshaun Watson.
It's going to be the rare time we agree with Mark Isla.
with this guy. Y'all have heard my nickname for him, Mark Kiss Ass. That's what I call him.
But that was a great article. When you sent that last night, I read that. It was a great article.
Yeah.
So many great points.
Yes, very much so. So if y'all haven't checked it out, I will give credit where credit is due. I don't care what my personal feelings are about you. If you do good work, I will highlight it. So if y'all have not checked it out, if you want to, right there in the chat. That is the article that we are talking about.
But I still think the Broncos got the bet won that controversy over because they're going to they're not going to have to pay him if he screws up. If Deshaun screws up again, Browns are going to have to pay him.
He's got that guaranteed money, and I'm sure there's.
And what was it? Was it $28 million guaranteed for Randy?
I believe that was the number. I will double check that.
I think it's $28 million guaranteed, and if he doesn't miss games, it's more.
Yeah. He has escalating guarantees, roster bonuses. So like there is the thing I don't like is people talking about how he ran from accountability. Well, if you look at the structure of the contract, he does have accountability. Like we said, they're escalating. Mm-hmm. Out of that $70 million, less than half of it is guaranteed right
And now. It shows you how much he probably wanted to be here, especially with not only Russell Wilson calling him 8 times to come to Denver,
right?
But George Payton is the mastermind at negotiation.
Negotiating. And again, remember what we said earlier. He already got Cortland Sutton, and Tim Patrick to restructure their deals to give him an extra 13 million, this man is not done. Look, my next thing for y'all to look out for, La'el Collins. Look for him to be the next big signing. There's not really much out
Didn't
there.
he sign already? I thought he already signed.
Did he?
I believe
no,
he
did
did the other day. I may be wrong. Let's look. Ian. Let's go to Rap Sheet.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
22 hours ago. Oh,
yeah, that's what I thought.
I missed this today. This happened after I had done my research on him. So I apologize, guys. He is gone.
And the Broncos also signed somebody else today, too. I just forgot his name.
Yes.
It was the safety. Yep, J.R. Reed from New York Giants.
Yes. That's the one I was trying to think of.
More depth at safety? Like more depth in the backfield?
Always. Let me pull him up. Let me see what his numbers are. Come here. So I can get them to you guys. Broncos news. Yeah, Reed signing a 1 year. It looks like a 1 year deal.
Yep.
See if I can find.
It's about $6 million, I think it was. Something along the lines of $6 million, somewhere in that range.
This doesn't have the numbers. Yeah, I think it's somewhere in that range. I just want to get the exact numbers. Here's from the source. Let's see if they got the numbers yet. Everywhere I'm checking, it's just 1 year deal. I don't know if they've released the financials yet, but I'm going to double check and make sure if there is, I will get it to y'all. I don't see the financials yet. I would assume it's probably somewhere in the $4 to $6 million range. But
yeah, they haven't announced it yet.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the actual financials. So it's not. So most likely, what it is, he hasn't taken his physical yet. So once that he's taken his physical and they verified that everything's good.
Well, I can tell you, he'll be getting his rookie deal that he signed with the Jaguars was a 3-year deal. Was a $2.295 million deal with the Jags for 3 years. So he's not going to be demanding a lot of money. You could probably get him for less on a 1 year.
Yeah, probably he's going to want like a 1 year prove it deal. Really show the NFL. We kind of audition not just for the Broncos, but the entire NFL. That's what those 1 year deals are about. They're about getting into a system that they think they can succeed in. That way the NFL will see what they can do. And maybe he gets a big contract when the year is up, whether it's from the Broncos or somebody else. So let me double check, make sure I didn't miss any other moves for you guys. We don't want to leave y'all hanging.
I don't think we did. Because
we got them all.
Because we talked, we mentioned the Matt Ryan deal, which was huge. I can't believe that. That man was your franchise, and you just gave him up like that for practically nothing, too.
Oh, we didn't. They did sign a offensive lineman, Ben Braden, to a 1 year deal.
Yep, more depth.
Yep, more depth. Tom Compton, another depth offensive line signing, out to offensive tackle, offensive guard. Looks like he might take over the role of Austin Schlottman. It would be my assumption for him.
I know this.
The Broncos have a Josh Johnson. That's going to be their backup quarterback.
Yep. He was with the Ravens, and I forgot who he was with before.
I think that man's been on just about every team at this point.
He's been all over.
So long.
But last year he was with the Ravens and started those games and won quite a few games with that Ravens team last year without Lamar. But also, did you see today, this isn't to do with Broncos, but the Saints re-signed Jameis to a 2-year deal.
Saints re-signed what?
Jameis Winston to a 2-year deal.
Oh, yes. Jameis Winston is staying.
Good for Jameis.
Yeah.
It shows you
good for famous Jameis.
I would say it would show you Sean Payton liked him, but it shows you that organization likes him now that Sean Payton's not there.
Right. Exactly. You got it 1,000%, my guy. So, looks like, we covered all of the free agency.
Now we got to do our 5.
Over. Yes.
Because we went back to our Gregory topic that we skipped.
Yes, we did. Because we wanted to make sure we got that in. But yes, now, again, as we stated earlier, the trade of Russell Wilson has reset the balance of the power in the AFC, but not only there, but also the NFL as a whole. So what we're going to do is a little bit of fun here. Give you all a little list We're going to give you our top 5 teams by quarterback in the AFC. And I'll let my guy Dylan go first.
I mean, I feel like we can both agree. Obviously, number one's got to be the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, because I mean, look at the past 4 years. It's insane what they've done.
Yep.
That's the team that you have to beat, and especially you're most likely going to be playing them 3 times a year if you make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. You're going to be seeing them 3 times a year, so you got to be prepared. So that's your goal. That's your set goal standard is beat Kansas City. 2 for me. Two's a bit tough. There's so many great teams out there, but I go with the Bills with Josh Allen.
Okay.
Especially after last year, after they started off a bit slow and just made their way back and fought through the playoffs just to lose with 13 seconds left, but we're not going to talk about that.
I'm good with not talking about that too.
Yeah, 3. I'll go with the Bengals, especially after they've been building their line in free agency. If you're going to have people that can protect Joe Burrow, you're going to probably make it back to the Super Bowl.
I like it.
I go in 4. I'm going to go with Denver. I go with Denver 4. Okay. Respectfully so. We haven't seen anything yet. That's why they're that down. That's why they're 4 out of the 5.
I got you.
Now 5 was a toss-up. It would be Ravens, but I'm not sure how scary they'll be next season. Huh. I'm going to go with the Colts.
5.
I'm going to go with the Colts.
Oh,
it was between the Chargers and the Colts.
Okay.
The Colts were missing that one piece last year, and that was quarterback. Sure, Carson Wentz did the job all right. Now you got a veteran QB who has a team that's built for him in the same sense of Denver with Russell Wilson. So I'll throw the Colts there. And if I had to go for a 6, I would say I tied the Colts and Chargers at 5.
Okay. I'm not mad at that list at all, but yes, you are 100% correct. Number 1, we both agree.
Yeah.
As much as it pains us to admit, and I know this guy right here is about to go be a little bit happy about it, is the Kansas City Chiefs are my number 1 team due to Patrick Mahomes. As we all know, the man's he's on another level than everybody else. So until we see Russell Wilson in this offense, I just can't in good conscience.
AFC West is just such BS, this free agency, too.
It's absolutely insane.
Can we just do 17 games of the AFC West versus each other?
Right. I mean, I'm down for it. I don't see why anybody else would be. That insanity of just the arms race, as people like.
Any of those teams could make a deep run in the playoffs. This is what I was talking about with people, not like a lot of people recently, is you could see all these teams in this division with 10 wins, and one of them is going to miss the playoffs.
Easily.
Maybe even 2 with 10 wins can miss the playoffs.
Right. It's insane to think about just how stacked this AFC is. But there's also the other edge of that, the other side of that coin is that they could end up beating up on each other and everybody splitting everything. And that's what causes only whoever wins the division to actually make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So but that's the exciting thing about it, is that either way, it's awesome. It's either awesome that they go out and they just mollywop everybody, and all 4 teams end up in there
splitting, like tie one-way place, 4-way place for first, like
4-way tie for first place and stuff. But there's also the possibility that they could just beat the crap out of each other, wipe out everybody else, but because of how they beat up each other, only one team makes it. But that's again, that shouldn't damper anybody. That should just make you even more excited to know that that's how close these teams are, that these games aren't going to be the 40-10, just boring. If you're not a fan of the
we're going to see that Raiders-Chargers game week 18 all the time.
Right. And that's going to be every single week. It's just going to be a knock them out, drag them out.
I think that was game of the year.
Football. It
was up there.
If it's not, it's definitely up there. But going on to number 2, this is where we're going to start disagreeing. I have Cincinnati. I know that Joe Burrow,
defending AFC champs, got it.
Exactly. I'm saying this man just took a team that had no offensive line all the way to the Super Bowl, and if
it was Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow versus the Rams.
Right? Yes, it was. That's a perfect way to put it. It was Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase against the Rams. I mean,
Almost saying Patrick
Mixon
Tan
mixed it
held
up
him
a
to
little
no
bit.
yards.
Right. Nothing. Shut him down. But again, Joe Burrow, I mean, I love the kid in college. I loved him coming out of college. And
When we were watching that national championship game,
it was
they went
insane
down
to watch
14-0 early, and then they just came back.
Yeah, you could see that he was going to be he was a pro QB in college. You could see it on that field that night in the national championship.
This is like technically his fourth year in the league.
Right, exactly. Exactly, my guy. So moving on from number 2, this is where I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to throw the Broncos in at 3. And
All right.
Yeah, it's just because of how much I love Russell Wilson. I know a lot of people want to try and knock his game or try to find some type of an angle to make this look like it was a bad deal for the Broncos. But
look at what he had in Seattle compared to in Denver now. The Seahawks were Russell Wilson. There was nothing else on that team except maybe Ty Lockett. But other than that, and he comes here, he's got fresh, young talent, and Tim Patrick's not as young, but Timmy P, Cortland Sutton, Javonte Williams, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, Mike Boone. Look at that. He's got weapons.
Yeah. Outside of Marshawn Lynch, can you really say he's ever had a true running game?
No.
Exactly. And now he's got Javonte and Boone and
a possibility of a third back and the running back.
Holy crap. I'm sorry. I just said it. I said it right. Demarie Crockett. Holy crap.
Demarie Crockett, yeah.
Demarie, I finally said it. Sorry. I just had to.
I just need to get you to pronounce Albert Okwuegbunam.
Albert Okwuegbunam?
Okwuegbunam. Vietnam.
That's what I said. Yeah, Nam.
I fought in Vietnam.
Okwuegbunam.
Forrest Gump, what a movie.
Lieutenant Dan.
That's all I got to say about that. You ain't got no legs, Lieutenant Dan.
God.
I know that, Forrest.
I know it, Forrest. But, yes. So,
with
all those things out of the way, as we know, up until draft day, it is Mock Monday.
And this is where I got to dip, because I got to do stuff that I don't want to go do.
Yeah, Dylan's got a dip, so we're going to let him go. All y'all say thank you again for being here. We appreciate you. We'll see you again next week, my guy. And
this is putting in my 2 week right here. I'm joking.
We appreciate you, brother. Have fun doing what you got to do, and we'll see you next week.
Talk to you later.
All right, so now it is back down to just me, because this is my thing anyways. So let me go ahead and get everything shared, because this week we're going to do it a little differently than what we have before. We are actually going to do the mock draft. We're going to do the first full round, for the full first round as a mock draft for y'all right here, live and in person. So let's get this changed up. All right, guys. See, as I said from the beginning, y'all going to get to see how we even set this stuff up. If I can get it to click here. Hold on. Got to refresh. Link's broken. There we go. We're going to select all. Like I said, we're going to do the full first round. We're going to use TDN's predictive board. Sorry, guys. Hold on, guys. All right, guys. Sorry. Had to take care of something. We almost had an epic accident out here. I know the camera and stuff has moved. I apologize. Been taken care of. But anyways, let's get back to doing what we were doing here. Sorry, guys. Gotta get back in my headspace. I apologize. Let's go. All right. So we're starting off with the first pick here in this draft. Jacksonville Jaguars. I know a lot of people are making the assumption they're going to go straight for edge rusher. They got to do this or that to help out the defense, and they have done a whole lot to help out this defense. As you see, team needs for them edge, safety, interior defensive lineman, offensive tackle. Me personally, I got to protect my franchise quarterback. I don't care what else they've done, how else they've taken care of things, but you always, always, always protect your most valuable asset. So I am going to go offensive tackle. This is what I believe is going to happen. I guess I should probably explain this to you. I'm going to do what I believe will happen, not only just what I want to see, but what I believe that these teams will do with their draft picks. It's going to be my best guess on how this is going to unfold in real life. So, as we go here, again, we're going offensive tackle. Everybody wants to give Evan Neal as the number one offensive tackle on the board. He might be one of the cleaner ones, a little bit safer pick. But me personally, I absolutely love this kid. Ekem Ekwonu. This kid is just an absolute stud at the offensive tackle position. And he has so much more room to grow. Evan Neal's floor is higher than Ekwonu, but Ekwonu's ceiling is much higher than Evan Neal. So that is where I am going and what I believe the Jaguars will go with the number one overall pick if it's not traded. I want to give that caveat because I do believe that the Jaguars are doing everything they can to get out of the first pick because of how weak this quarterback class is. But if they are stuck with it, nobody wants to give them a ransom for it. They are going to go Ekwonu, in my opinion. Next up, we have Detroit. And this is one of those that it just makes too much sense. It really, truly does. And after, all the trades that have been made and Lions they did kind of miss out on the QB carousel, so to speak. Everybody else kind of got their guy. They really didn't. You can't reach. You can never reach for any position. And the worst position to reach for is quarterback. So unless they drop way back to grab one of these quarterbacks in the middle of the first round, the Detroit Lions are going to stick with the hometown kid, which is Aiden Hutchinson. We all know who this kid is. Just an absolute beast of a pass rusher, has dominated the Big Ten pretty much since he stepped on the field. He has a motor that doesn't quit. A good comp for me would be Jared Allen. Sorry, lost his name there for a second. The pass rusher that used to play for the Chiefs and the Vikings. That is the type of pass rusher and the type of production that Aiden Hutchinson will get for Detroit as on the edge of their defense. I do like and I do want to say I like what Dan Campbell has been building. You can make all the jokes you want about his press conferences and biting kneecaps and things of that nature, but the man just does it. He just goes out there and he's building a culture and a locker room that believes in what he is telling them. It doesn't matter if we think it's funny. It doesn't matter if he, gives you bulletin board material for your next article to make fun of him. None of that matters if the players buy in. And from all accounts of what I can see, the players are buying in. They really fought at the end of the year and throughout the entire year for their coach. You can't question the man's leadership ability in that locker room. He's doing what he needs to do, and I'm looking forward to see what he builds going forward. That Detroit fan base, man, they've been through enough. Those poor people, they need something. Next, you got Houston Texans, who we all know just made that giant trade to Cleveland to go ahead and get Deshaun Watson off their books and out of their locker room and essentially out of their lives so they can move on. So their first pick, again, weak QB class. I like Davis Mills, so I don't see quarterback being a great need for the Texans this year. If Davis Mills isn't able to progress and get better next year, they just get another top 10 pick in a much stronger QB class, and they can deal with that then. But as of this class, I don't see a single QB that's better than Davis Mills. So I'll just give you the heads up. I don't see them snatching up a QB in the first, let alone in with the number 3 overall pick. I think here is where you see positional value get thrown out the window, and you see a guy get drafted higher than a lot of people expect. And this is where I believe Kyle Hamilton goes. This kid absolutely destroyed the combine. As much as people talk about Jordan Davis and what he did, which was extremely impressive, we've talked about that at length here on Breaking Broncos. But Kyle Hamilton had himself a week at the combine after a very productive career. It's not just he's a an underwear wonder. The guy had a great career at Notre Dame, and he just backed that up in every workout after the season was over. So I see him slowly creeping up draft boards, and I honestly believe that when everything is said and done, this is where Kyle Hamilton lands. And if the Texans are smart, that's where they go. There's in this pass first league, there is nothing more important than a top tier safety that can take away the deep part of the field and can also come up and deal with the run game when necessary. And that is what Kyle Hamilton is. He is a new age safety that is a different breed. And he would do wonders for the back end of that Houston Texans defense. Now we move to the Jets, who, a lot like the Jaguars with the number 1 overall pick, have a franchise asset they need to protect that was just beaten to a pulp in his rookie season, and that is Zach Wilson. So I'll make it short and sweet. Best offensive tackle on the board left, Evan Neal, Alabama, goes to the New York Jets to again protect that blind side of their franchise quarterback. Next, we have the New York Giants, another team that's got multiple picks in this draft or in the first round and in the top 10. I got to say that they made some good trades, got some really good picks in return. So they have a chance to really revamp not only the offense, but defense in a very deep class because they are still committed to Daniel Jones. Again, no matter how much y'all want to talk about the kid, you want to make fun of the turf monster that got him on probably would have been the longest run by a quarterback in history. The kid has a lot of talent. I am not Dave Gettleman. I don't believe in these things or in this man the way that Dave Gettleman does. I believe he's a good quarterback, not a great one. And I don't believe he's a franchise quarterback. But again, it's not about what I believe, it's about what I believe they believe. So I believe, again, they're going to protect their quarterback, their franchise asset, because he has been one of the most sacked quarterbacks since he got in the league. And again, best tackle prospect on the board, Charles Cross, Mississippi State, goes to New York with the number 5 overall pick. And next off, we go to the Panthers. They are another team that needs to protect their quarterbacks. They don't have a franchise quarterback yet. So building for it and protecting him before he gets there would be a prerogative. But there's really not those options here. As you can see here, I'm not just going because this is what is left on the board. I don't just go by the board. But you look at the next guy is Trevor Penning. That's the next tackle on this board. And then after that, we got to go all the way down here. And we're still going and we're still going. And I'm going to stop there. That's just to show y'all. That's how thin it is after you get through the first 3 offensive tackles. I think that it's a bit of a reach to grab Penning this early. And again, you never want to reach, especially when you have blue chip prospects on the board. And there is one here that at this point you can't pass up. It's a little bit amazing that he's fell this far because again, you've seen how these have went through 3 offensive tackles in the top 5. Most people they swear that Kayvon Thibodeau can't fall out of the top 5. He has to be a top 5 talent. Well, in this scenario, he ends up falling a little bit because of the need matching up with the talent in the top 5 picks. So he does fall. This would be I believe, a dream scenario for Matt Rule and the Carolina Panthers, that Kayvon Thibodeau would fall this far and they would be able to snatch him up. So again, I think they run to the podium if Kayvon Thibodeau lasts this far and he ends up a Panther. And now we are back to the New York Giants, who again have 2 top 10 picks. So we've already taken care of their offensive tackle issues. And their next biggest need is edge rusher. This is a team that runs an even front. So you have to find a guy that can either is known for being with his hand in the dirt, or has at least done enough that he can transition to that. So this is where we go. As I stated, either they have to always have their hand in the dirt, or they've at least played there enough that you can project them. And so this is why, as you see right here, Jermaine Johnson, he is really flying up draft boards. He showed out in the combine. He had a very productive final couple seasons in Florida State. So I do believe he does get picked in the top 10 and that he ends up a New York Giant. Jermaine Johnson. Oh, don't want to do that. Sorry, clicked the wrong button. But yes, Jermaine Johnson, New York Giants. Boom. And he can play either or. So even if things change up, and the Giants do have a multiple front. So again, Jermaine Johnson, I believe, perfect fit. New York Giants, edge rusher. Let him go out there and just wreak havoc all over the Meadowlands. And then next off, we have the other team that made a major trade just today, as we discussed earlier. Matt Ryan was traded from the Falcons to the Colts so that he could replace Carson Wentz in Indianapolis. So, again, very weak class. I don't like a single quarterback, and I have yet to hear anything from anywhere that says any team is looking at a quarterback in the top 10. So, again, I'm going to overlook quarterbacks. I mean, could you see a Malik Willis come in? And you know what? As I'm talking, I'm kind of talking myself into this because of the way that they signed Marcus Mariota. They have an extra first round pick. Malik Willis is my number 1 quarterback on the board. I know that, but it's kind of hard to say that they would overlook either a Derek Stingley Jr. or a Trayvon Walker, edge rusher, or even David Ajabo. And we also still have Sauce Gardner here. And this is where things start to get tricky, guys. It's where you're trying to make sure you get the best prospect possible, but you're also helping out a need at the same time. Because honestly, right now, my number 1 guy on the board that's left is Ahmad Gardner. My number 2 guy is Trayvon Walker. So you know what? I'm not even going to allow myself to talk myself into it. We're just going to go Trayvon Walker, edge rusher, Atlanta. Boom. Done. Next up, Seattle. This is the first pick that Seattle got in the Russell Wilson trade. And while I'm talking, I need to go back here and make sure I'm not missing anybody. Nope. There we go. All right, just want to make sure I didn't miss any of y'all comments, because again, I'm one man banding it right now. Dylan had to go, so I apologize if I stop. I just want to make sure that if y'all have any questions, I get them answered. So again, this is the number 9 overall pick that Denver had that was part of the package to get Russell Wilson to Denver. So this is Seattle's first pick of the first round. And as you see, they do have an offensive tackle. Need is big. They got Drew Lock in the trade, so I don't think quarterback is really on their mind this year again. And I believe this is a good place. He's not going to last until Seattle has their next pick. I believe it's in the 20s. Oh, wait, they didn't have a third. That's right. They didn't have my bad. They didn't have a first round pick because that was part of the Jamal Adams trade. So this is their only first round pick. So I think you got to go ahead and grab your biggest need with a good value. Trevor Penning, it is a little early for him, but there's no way that he is lasting until towards the beginning of the second round with their next pick, the ninth overall pick in the second round, also part of the Russell Wilson trade. So we're going to go ahead. This is where Trevor Penning goes off the board and goes ahead and takes care of that need. Now we're back to the Jets, their second top 10 pick. We've already taken care of their offensive tackle need. Next needs are edge, safety, cornerback, wide receiver, interior D lineman. And there are all kinds of options for all of those. We have Derek Stingley Jr., who looked like an absolutely game-changing defensive back in the championship year of LSU. He's kind of dropped off a little bit, but I mean, if you believe that he can return to that form, the man can be a difference maker. Then you have Sauce Gardner, who, if you don't know, the man did not allow a single touchdown in college. His entire college career, not a single touchdown did he allow. And then you have David Ajabo, who is a true raw prospect. Another one of those that he has a really low floor, but he has an astronomical ceiling. You just have to hope, if you're taking this man this high, that he's going to reach that ceiling. He was another one of those workout wonders during the combine where he just went off. Then you have Trent McDuffie, a big physical corner out of Washington. Obviously, the quarterback, Malik Willis. Again, don't see him going at anywhere in the top 10. No quarterbacks in the top 10. I know that sounds crazy, and it always seems that there is somebody that just blows up the draft by taking a guy way too high. I mean, think of the Ryan Tannehills, Josh Rosens, things of that nature. That's what we're talking about with this QB class. It's that weak. So I'm going to stay true to my board, and I do believe David Ojabo will be a difference-making pass rusher in this league, and I think the Jets will believe so as well. And I believe that's where they go. They take care of their top two needs, offensive tackle and edge rusher, in the top 10. Then we have the Washington Commanders with their first pick of the draft, pick number 11. As you see, they have wide receiver, cornerback, interior O-line, if I can speak, safety, and tight ends, their top four needs. And I think this is a perfect scenario for them, as they get my number one wide receiver and the number one wide receiver on this board, which is Jameson Williams out of Alabama. This kid is insane, and I think that he will be great with Carson Wentz throwing him the ball. He is he's a little bit on the smaller side, but Washington's got plenty of big targets between tight ends and wide receivers. They need speed. Somebody other than Terry McCollum who can get open deep down the field, and Jameson Williams is that guy. So, wide receiver to the Commanders. Next off is the Minnesota Vikings, who their top needs are safety, interior D-line, cornerback, and wide receiver. Again, I think a perfect place for them to grab, and this is where I believe Sauce Gardner goes off the board. Yes, Sauce before Stingley. All day, Ahmad Gardner going to Minnesota. And if you look, that front office loves their cornerbacks. They love their defensive backs. So it is not a hard stretch to believe that the number one cornerback on my board goes to the Vikings at 12 overall and the first cornerback off the board. I have him falling a lot farther than a lot of people do. Next up, again, we have the Houston Texans, who we've already taken care of their safety need, which that defense was atrocious last year. So if they can go ahead and snatch up two of the best defenders in this draft, to really shore up that back end, will do wonders for correcting the issues that they had in Houston last year. So this is where we start seeing a run on cornerbacks. Houston takes Derek Stingley. Then we have Baltimore, who are looking for interior D linemen, edge, and cornerbacks. And the Ravens I've always admired the Ravens for building their teams the right way. They always build them from the inside out. And this is where another workout wonder ends up climbing up the boards and throwing a wrench in things. And Jordan Davis will end up in Baltimore if he falls to 14. Again, that's him falling a ways. I still can't believe they have him ranked as the 18th best prospect here, but that's positional value. Everybody kind of sees him as a 2-down run stuffer. I see more pass rush ability in him than a lot of people give him credit for. But again, that's my opinion. Either way, the Ravens don't care. You've seen where they drafted Haloti Nada. Shoot, I forgot the last one's name. Anyways, you just go back and look. I'm sorry, brains everywhere. I'm trying to keep things together. All right, so Philadelphia, first of their back-to-back picks at 15 and 16. Again, like I said, run on cornerbacks happens, but again, it's not the top guy on the board. I have Booth in front of McDuffie. I think he fits that Eagles defense. God, sorry guys, I'm really trying to get myself together. I promise I will. And I believe that Andrew Booth Jr. from Clemson goes to Philadelphia with their first pick at number 15. And they also need an edge rusher, which I like this guy. This guy, he's more effort than talent. But as they say, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. That phrase has this man's picture right next to it in any book that it might be in. So, and I think he fits the hard-nosed Philly style, the kind of player that Philly fans love. And George Karlaftis in Philly just makes too much sense. And I know a lot of people, probably a lot of my Philly friends are going to be like, how'd you leave Garrett Wilson on the board? How'd you leave Drake London on the board? Edge rusher will always be more important than wide receiver. Edge rushers and stopping wide receivers should always be your number one priority as a team. If the other team doesn't have time to throw or an open receiver to throw to, it doesn't matter how good their receivers are. It doesn't matter how many receivers they have. If you have the cornerbacks to match up in the pass rush to get to the quarterback before the wide receivers can get open, it doesn't matter what their talent level is. So right here, you got your cornerback, your shutdown cornerback, and your edge rusher to go ahead and help mitigate your defensive issues that you had last year. And again, those values are much higher than wide receivers, especially in a class that has so many wide receivers. It's insane. I promise that if Philly doesn't get a wide receiver in the first round, which again, they still got another pick. So be patient with me. And while I'm talking about being patient, hey, buddy, I see you. Hey, babe, I appreciate you. Draft Russell Wilson to the Dolphins. Nope, he can't be drafted. I'm not doing a fantasy draft, buddy. I'm doing a mock draft. So I'm not making things up. I'm just going with the board. But I get where your head's at. You want our quarterback because you don't have a quarterback, but you can't have him. He's mine. So with that out of the way, again, he's mine. We're going to move on to the San Diego Chargers. I just said it. Sorry. Los Angeles Chargers. I grew up my whole life with them in San Diego. Y'all got to understand, I might slip from time to time. I've been pretty good. But Los Angeles Chargers are the next ones up. Their top needs are O-tackle, interior D-line, linebacker, and edge. So, as you see here, this is the board. We have cornerback Trent McDuffie, QB Malik Willis, which we can go ahead and knock him off of the possibilities here. No way are the Chargers going to trade Justin Herbert for any of these quarterbacks We have Garrett Wilson. We have Kenny Pickett, again, knocking him off. Tyler Linderbaum, who's a guy, this is one of my favorite players in this draft because I'm an O-line geek. Y'all can't beat it out of me. It's what I played my whole life. So him being an interior O-lineman has some intrigue there. Um, then we have, see, our next nearest tackle, guys. You see, it's really thin at the tackle position. There's no way that I'm going to come down here and reach. This is where reaches get you in trouble. You're like, oh, I need a tackle. Well, yeah, you do, but you're not taking one of these tackles at 17 in the first round. So we're going to go ahead and ignore their number one need because there's just no value here. But they also need an interior D lineman, a linebacker, and an edge. So we'll see here some interior D line options. We have Devontae Wyatt from Georgia, a nice big interior D lineman with a lot of athleticism. Then we have Perrion Winfrey from Oklahoma. He's a uh, much more of a two down run stuffer, but very athletic and possibly has a higher ceiling when it comes to pass rushing. We got some interior O linemen, which is it's a need, but it's kind of down the line. Unless you can get a blue chip prospect, you're not going to want to take one at 17. And then edge, as you see, we got to go all the way down here. We got Cameron Thomas, San Diego State, small school prospect. Nice size, nice athleticism, but a little bit of a project and kind of far down the board. We don't want to go that far down. Then, so what we're going to do here, we're going to focus on linebacker and edge. And the number one linebacker on my board after the combine is Nakobe Dean, and I do believe he's going to be a beast. And I would hate to see him added to that defense that has already stacked up with Khalil Mack and all these other pieces that Los Angeles has went out and got this offseason to try and build around Herbert. But he would be the perfect asset, the quarterback of that defense, to really bring all of it together. And as much as it pains me to give this much of an upgrade to a rival, we're going to go with Nakobe Dean going to Los Angeles. Next up, this is going to be pretty easy. This is New Orleans. They just, as we said earlier, they just re-signed Jameis Winston to a 2-year contract. They're going to want to give him every weapon that they can. Michael Thomas is going to be gone. He does not want to be there. So, again, easy one. The next best wide receiver and the best one left on the board is Garrett Wilson, according to them. But I think this breaks the heart of Philly fans. This is my number 2 guy on the board, and that is Drake London. He's the truth. And I think he is the perfect replacement for Michael Thomas there in New Orleans. But as a consolation prize, which I think would actually make a lot of my Philly friends happy, is that you get my guy Bird Gang's number 1 wide receiver on the board, Wilson. Boom. Garrett Wilson goes, and now the Philly fans should be going ecstatic with the way this board has fell and who they have on their team. The next one, this is one that just, again, makes too much sense to me. He's their kind of guy. He plays in the perfect position to fill the perfect need, and I'm sure y'all can figure it out. Tyler Linderbaum, Iowa interior offensive lineman, going to Steelers. He's just a Steelers pick. He's a Steelers player. He's got that mentality, and I think he could do wonders for the middle of that offensive line there in Pittsburgh whenever it is they figure out who and when their quarterback will be going under center. Next up, we have the New England Patriots. Their number 1 needs after letting Stephon Gilmore walk and all the rest of Gerard Mayo, all those guys, they need cornerback, linebacker, safety, and wide receiver. I think, again, the board falls perfectly for them. Trent McDuffie he's a Patriot. He's that type of player. He's a very good athlete, just kind of does it all. Not flashy, but he gets the job done. And what is the Patriots' motto? Do your job. And so Trent McDuffie goes from one coast to the other and does his job. Make sure. Yep, it's okay. Um, Next off, Green Bay Packers. Again, they have a lot of things to replace. Number one being, as you see, wide receiver, because if you've been paying attention to that AFC West arms race, Devontae Adams was traded to the Raiders, and now they have to replace him. So, again, for them, they have a very similar prospect, same kind of size, speed, agility. He is essentially, I mean, the best comp you can give Treylon Burks is Devontae Adams. Guy that was underutilized in a weaker offense that comes into the NFL with a great quarterback. I know it's hard to believe that the Packers are going to use a first round pick on a wide receiver because they essentially never have in the Rodgers era. But I think this is finally the year that Rodgers gets his weapons and Treylon Burks goes to Green Bay. Next up, the Cardinals, pick number 23. They again need cornerback, edge, wide receiver, and running back. They have Kyler Murray, so we obviously know they're not going to go quarterback. So the quarterbacks stay on the board. I mean, interior D line, you always want to build from the inside out, as I've always said. You got the interior O lineman Zion Johnson, another interior D lineman Kenyon Green from Texas A&M, another interior O lineman, and then Devin Lloyd, linebacker out of Utah. And then we have Chris Olave and Jahan Dotson. These two guys are absolutely speed demons. These are guys that would be honestly the perfect complement to DeAndre Hopkins on the other side. They would take the top off of the defense. You got Chris Olave, who stands at 6'1", Jahan Dotson at 5'11". I'm not taking the guy just simply because he's taller. I really like Chris Olave, his body control, his awareness of sidelines, of defenders. His hands are insane to go along with all of that speed and athleticism. So I see Chris Olave over on the other side of DeAndre Hopkins getting all those targets that in the one-on-one coverage he's going to get, because you have to at least double cover DeAndre Hopkins on every play or he's going to destroy you. So it's going to create a pick your poison kind of situation, and I think it's just the perfect landing spot for Chris Olave. Next up, we have the Dallas Cowboys, who have had the most head-scratching offseason so far this year. It's been a little insane to watch these people just essentially dismantle a team that was a playoff and Super Bowl contender for the almost entirety of the season up until the playoffs, where they got one and done again. I don't know if maybe they think that they need to blow it up to make it better, but it is what it is. Uh, their number one needs are edge, because as we spoke of earlier, we took one of their best pass rushers, if not their best pass rusher, in Randy Gregory, and brought him to Broncos country to go ahead and wreak havoc here in the AFC West. They have safety issues, which they've essentially had since Woodson retired. I don't know what it is in Dallas and not being able to find a safety to replace Woodson, but it is what it is. They also need a wide receiver, as they have gotten rid of Amari Cooper, interior offensive lineman, interior D lineman. This is another team that, despite their faults, I love the way that they are not afraid to take a lineman in the first round. And so, with that being said, this is where I believe Zion Johnson, the 6'3", 312-pound athletic offensive lineman out of Boston College, ends up in Dallas. Then we go ahead and move on to Buffalo. They are really pretty much set across the line. Really what they're doing is just kind of plugging holes. And again, I believe that this board falls perfectly for them to go ahead and get rid of their number one need with a great prospect, and that is Devonte Wyatt out of Georgia, interior D lineman, going to Buffalo and strengthening the interior of that D that already has some great pass rushers, as we discussed. Von Miller's up there now. They have really good secondary with Tre'Davious White and company. So shoring up the middle of that defense and ensuring that a team's not able to run roughshod over them the way that Kansas City did to win in the playoffs, I believe is priority number one. And that is why Devontae Wyatt ends up in Buffalo to go ahead and shore up that one major weakness on that roster. Next up, we have the Tennessee Titans, who shocked everybody. I mean, were they not the weirdest number one seed that any of us have ever seen? Like, it's insane to think that they didn't have Derrick Henry for half a season. He still ended up in the top 5 or 6 in rushing, and the Titans ended up with the number one overall seed again without King Henry for half the season after Halloween. Essentially, the last game he played was the last game before Halloween. So they're not going to want to blow anything up, as you've seen in the offseason. They haven't really been the flashiest of teams. You just kind of went out and got their guy, um, maybe under the radar, younger guy that people ain't really talked about. But this is where I think they start making splashes and start getting some playmaking ability to add to AJ Brown and Derrick Henry and take some additional pressure off Ryan Tannehill. And this is where I believe Jahan Dotson ends up going to add that extra speed element on top of what AJ Brown can do with his size and speed. So there's Jahan Dotson going to Tennessee. Next up, we have Tampa Bay, and this is the main reason why I had Jahan Dotson going there, because this is where Jahan Dotson would have went if not to Tennessee. So with Tampa Bay, they have wide receiver, cornerback, interior O line, and running back as their number one, as their top 4 needs. And again, another one where it falls perfectly for a need and a talent to be in the perfect position. Kenyon Green drops no farther out of Texas A&M, and he goes to Tampa Bay. Next up, we have the Green Bay Packers for their second pick of the first round. Right here, pick 28. We're almost done here, guys. And then again, we've already taken care of their wide receiver issues. Next, they have edge, O tackle, interior D line, and linebacker as their top 4 needs. And y'all have heard me talk about this poor kid at length. He's probably sick of hearing his name come out of my mouth. But Devin Lloyd, I absolutely love what he's done. And I think that this is where he finally comes off the board and no longer falls any farther. He probably didn't test as well as people thought he would. He ran a 4.6 instead of a 4.5 and things of that nature. I mean, it was just a tick off of expectations. But unfortunately, at this time of year, those things being a tick off can really hurt you when it comes to draft position. And I think that's why Devin Lloyd ends up falling this far. But this is where it ends, and the man ends up in a great organization and a great position to make a difference on a top flight team. So Devin Lloyd to Green Bay. Next up, Miami Dolphins, pick number 29. They are a mess right now, just to be honest. Everything that's happened over the last year just has this team reeling. They really need a win. They got to be careful with how they make this pick, what they do with it. And as you see, their needs don't really line up very well with the board. I would not be surprised if the Dolphins traded out of this pick, but we're not doing that this week. We're just going with who we believe the teams are going to pick at the picks that they have. No trading back and forth, up and down, doesn't matter. We're staying with the board as it is. So they need a wide receiver, an offensive tackle, a linebacker, a running back as their top needs. And as we look through the board, although it might not look as originally as they have a value and need matchup, you just got to scroll a little bit down. And I really like this kid out of Alabama. Uh, he has enough athleticism to go sideline to sideline, but he plays with a passion and an anger, and his speed's insane. I don't see him falling out of the first round, so I can't see him falling any farther than this. I think he would be a great addition to that defense that has that showed under Brian Flores to be tougher and much more of much more than the sum of their parts under Brian Flores. I'm hoping that McDaniels and his staff are able to keep that together and keep that moving forward. And I think Christian Harris would be an absolutely epic addition to the Miami Dolphins. Then that leaves us with the next pick, Kansas City Chiefs. And I know somebody that's watching that's excited about seeing where this might go. So Kansas City Chiefs' number one needs are wide receiver, which I don't believe that's the number one need anymore, especially after signing Juju Smith-Schuster, cornerback, edge, safety, linebacker. Those are their major needs there in Kansas City. And I do believe this is another one where the guy is just there waiting to be picked to the perfect team. That's Kaiir Elam. I hope I said your first name right. I've been trying to work on it. If I didn't, let me know, slap me, whatever you got to do to make yourself feel better. I'm sorry. But anyways, Kaiir Elam is going to end up going to Kansas City if he drops this far. I just that's to me that's their number one need. That's where they got torched when it came to Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. They did not have a guy that could match up with Jamar Chase, and it cost them dearly. So this is their attempt at doing so. Kaiir Elam to Kansas City to go ahead and shore up that secondary. Next up is the Bengals, defending AFC champs. We've already talked at length about how much we love Joe Burrow, how much that they need to make sure that he is taken care of. Um, but again, their number one needs really offensive tackle. You don't really have any of those guys until well into the second round. I don't know if I want to reach for a Bernard Raymond or a Daniel Falela. I'm sorry, I destroyed that. I know I did. Um, but if you don't go by that being the number one need, and you look around just a little bit farther down this line, where's it at? Aha. It's a little bit low. Sean Ryan, that's a possibility at interior O line. Then they also need a cornerback. If you look just a little bit farther up, Kyler Gordon out of Washington. Um, to me, he's more of a slot corner. So again, I don't know if I want to use my number 31 overall pick on that guy. I think I might want to wait till later to grab somebody like that. Then they have tight end, wide receiver, linebacker, safety. So as we go down further, yeah, they need a safety. And you know what? There's a couple here that are actually of a pretty good value. You got Daxton Hill. He's a 6 foot, 191-pound safety. He's more of a starting free safety with the ability to play nickel, as you saw there. Then we have the second safety, Jaquan Brisker. Uh, he is a 6'1", 199-pound safety out of Penn State. Um, he's more, again, starting free safety, but he needs a place that has interchanging safety roles. Well, one of the things that Cincinnati loves to do is disguise their coverages and have guys that can play multiple positions. So, with that being the case, the best fit would be and I just did it. My bad, guys. I would play it. That should have been Jaquan Brisker. I apologize. I clicked on the wrong one. I apologize. But we all know I meant Jaquan Brisker. I won't restart it all just for that, because we got one pick left, and that is the Lions, who again we've taken care of their edge need. Next biggest need, safety or quarterback. To me, this is the perfect place for the first quarterback to go off the board. And that is, I believe, everyone's number one quarterback, Malik Willis. So, boom, there it is. And here is our draft. Number one, Ekwonu, Aiden Hutchinson. Number two to Detroit, Houston Texans, Kyle Hamilton. New York Jets, Evan Neal. New York Giants again, Charles Cross, offensive tackle. Kayvon Thibodeau to Carolina. And Jermaine Johnson to New York, again to the Giants. Trayvon Walker to the Falcons. Trevor Penning to the Seahawks. And David Ajabo to the Jets as the top 10. So there is my live draft. I appreciate y'all sticking through and seeing what we can do. If y'all have any questions, I'm going to post this to our Twitter and Instagram and things. So if you have any questions about it, any suggestions, anything you would have been done different, I would love to hear it. I would love to hear what your opinions are on my draft, and I'd love to have a discussion with you. And also, I want to welcome anybody that's came in and watched this past the live point. Again, we love y'all. We appreciate all of you. Every view, every time, anytime counts. It does not matter if you're here for the live. We love you just as much as those that show up for the live. So, as always, for the Breakin Broncos podcast and my co-host who is no longer here, Dylan Miles, I am your host. Dan Wetstein is part of the Answers 42 Media Network, Bird Gang Sports Media Network. Make sure you go down to all the links below. We are here to listen, to talk. Please go and follow, subscribe. Remember to like. Shares the Holy Grail. It's free for you, but it's priceless for us. So always remember, smash that like button, all the red buttons. I know you're always told not to hit the red buttons. I'm telling you, hit them all. Smash them, like them, share them. We appreciate every one of y'all. Thank you for coming, and don't question the blue.